of the mindful living. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a refreshing and empowering conversation about aging, uh, vitality, redefining what's possible in the later chapters of life. Yeah, and too often, like society tells us that uh, 60 it's is the beginning of the end. So and that means everything it's the last stage of life, right? So people say like that. So that's, I mean, it's a time to slow down, settle in, and let go of big dreams. But what if I tell you uh, that if we flipped that idea uh, on its head? So how do you feel like, right? What if 60 was actually the perfect time to start something new, to take control of the health and uh, step into a more powerful and purposeful version of the life? So, what do you think? Right? Do let me know in the comment section of the social media and other platforms. Would love to hear from you. So, today we have a guest uh, who is here to prove exactly that. Allison McCune Davis. So, welcome to the show, Allison.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Lovely, lovely. So, so Alison, like before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Alison is an author, traditional neuropath, and a mom of five who has spent the last 14 years helping women take charge of their health. And her new book, 60 is a good start, a powerful body, a purposeful life, and a plan to make it happen, is a roadmap to thriving beyond 60, focusing on the health, mindset, and uh, purpose in a way that is both actionable and inspiring. And to make this transformation even easier, she created Reignite, the 60-day Dare Planner, which is designed to help women track their progress, stay accountable, and take meaningful steps towards a vibrant and fulfilling life. So, dear listeners, whether you are approaching 60 or will past it, or just curious about how to make every phase of life more and more powerful and joyful, then this episode and this conversation is for you. So, I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Without further ado, welcome to the show again, Alison.
Thank you. It's so good to be here, and you've spoken about it so well already.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's really a great honor to have you here today and discuss about this important topic, which we often uh, bypass by saying, oh, it's 60. Okay, fine. It's time to slow down. So that's great to discuss about. So I love this title, I have to say. Title of your book, like 60 is a good start. It completely shifts the narrative on aging. So, uh, to understand, or if you can share like what inspired you to write this book, and uh, what do you hope readers will take away from it?
Well, I was turning 60, and this was about 3.5 years ago, and it kind of freaked me out. Like you said, a mom of five. I've spent the last couple of decades focused on natural health, and you know, mainly because I started having kids a little later than most, and I just had to have the energy, right? So I was highly motivated to be healthy and do whatever I needed to do to get there. But then I was, turning 60, and it just kind of floored me. I was, decade birthdays, right? 40, well, that was a pretty big deal, but man, I was busy with little kids. And then 50 came along, and I was actually adopting our fifth child. So I was pretty busy still. But then 60 came along, and now I've got, my big three kids are out of the house. I've still got two here, but everything's different, and those years of working my tail off, which I know so many women are in that position, whether it was raising kids or a full-time career or both, whatever it was, it's those years of really working hard and giving, 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 and then we get to 60 and then, I'm thinking, "Oh my, I'm 10 years from 70 and 20 years from 80. What does this mean?" My friend said, "Oh, I hear this is the gateway to old age." And I was just like, "No, I refuse to accept that." And so I kinda went on this little 7-month odyssey, I suppose, of just really searching, like, feeling like my life was changing, but I didn't know how or what. It was just something different was going to happen. I felt like, what was my purpose going to be for, like, this next decade? And, I was just restless, and they say that women, that when they turn 60, it can be a very transformational time for them, and um, so I was looking for things. I learned about this concept of a misogi, which is a Japanese word for a life-changing event. And so this guy I followed, he was like, "I want everybody to have a misogi. Every year you should pick something you're gonna do and it should be life-changing so you remember it." And I thought, well, that's really cool. So I was kind of in a group of people that online that were doing that, and lots of people doing really cool things. And then someone said, "What about 75 hard?" And have you ever heard of 75 hard? It's this real hard 75-day physical challenge. And at first I thought, there's no way I can do that. This big tattooed covered muscle guy, I'm like, I'm not his target market. But then after being around all these people that were doing these amazing things, I was like, maybe I could do that. And I figured out a way and I did. And it was incredible. And then little by little, I just about 7 months rolled away, and my friend had just said, "I hear this is the gateway to old age," and I was just like, "No." And I was actually doing a deep breathing session, one of my favorites, and I just all of a sudden thought, "I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write a book." So it was sort of combining the natural health, the longevity, which I've been fascinated with forever, centenarians and why? How are they living to 100 and in a healthy way, not sick? How does that happen? And why is that not happening more here, in the United States or wherever? So I love to look at those kind of people and what do they do, but also combining just the planning of things. I'm a big planner. I used to be a TV producer in LA before I got married, and I mean that was massive planning. Everything had to be organized, and then I homeschooled for 20 years, and the same things were necessary. So combining all of that, I came up with the book, and the plan is essential because it's like we can read a book and, okay, these are all great ideas, but how are we gonna do it? Like people I wanted to give women at this stage of life, I kinda think 50 to 70, but honestly, anyone, a way lined up with longevity principles to little by little baby step your way to new habits. And this plan called the 60-day dare is it's a so the framework that I have is called the self-perpetuating circle of purpose. And it's made up of body work, brain work, and world work. And those are the three areas that longevity studies talk about. And I'm talking about the blue zones. There's Harvard studies on longevity. There's even cancer studies on longevity. And, there's all kinds of studies and they all say the same things. So, and they're in those three categories. What are we going to do physically? Like, how are we eating? Are we drinking enough water? Are we moving our body? Are we getting good sleep? Are we deep breathing? That's really important, believe it or not. Then that would be in the body work. And then in the brain work, it's, are we lowering our stress?
Mm.
Stress is contributes so much to aging. It contributes to worse cancer, results. It contributes to, just everything negative. It gets worse by stress. Are we optimistic? Are we following our intuition? I mean, I was kind of following my intuition on that. Like one thing led to another to another. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I got to write a book. Are we doing things like prayer, meditation, affirmations? You know, how are we talking to ourselves in our brain? What words are we speaking? So all of those things. And then what's our outside world look like? And that's two things. It's our relationships and it's our purpose. And do we feel like we have a purpose? I was like, my purpose is changing. I don't know what it is right now, but it's changing. And so this looks at all of those, and each person that does this, it's 60 days. You pick one thing from each category, the body work, the brain work, the world work, and you commit to doing those for 60 days. Because Dr. Caroline Leaf, she's written tons of books, she's a neuroscientist. She has proven, you can physically see it under a microscope, that it takes a minimum of 60 days to create a new habit, whether it's, how much water am I drinking each day or whether it's a thought habit even. But it could take up to 8 months. It just depends on what it is. And so that's why 60 six it's a two has two meanings. 60 is a good start, 60 years old or around there, but
Absolutely.
also 60 days is a good start. So we're gonna baby step our way to doing little, no matter where you're gonna start, no matter if you can't walk to the end of the block, maybe you're just gonna walk a little ways each day, and it's gonna get better and better and better. So, that's kind of essentially what it is.
That's really great. I mean, 60 days to start or to uh, change something, or I would rather say the mindset shift uh,
Yes,
is something very important. And
essential.
yeah, it's essential. Correct, correct. What?
It is essential. I mean, people, everybody's in a different place,
Yeah.
but many times we have to have a paradigm shift, a mental
Mm.
shift of what's possible, and we just have to open ourselves up to being curious and like, "Okay, I'm gonna try something new." There's that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, thinking you're gonna get a different result.
Mm.
If the results aren't good, you don't like the results you have to do something different and, be open to new ideas.
Yeah. So, so, what are some of the daily practices that can help women cultivate a stronger and more, more resilient mindset as they move into the next phase of the life? What do you?
Okay, so within each of these categories, body work, brain work, and world work, there are 5 things that you get to choose from to design your 60 days. So let's just look at the brain work because this is about mindful living. And you would choose to do either write, so journal, journal 10 minutes a day in whatever way that you want to journal. Maybe you want to journal about trauma that you've
Mm.
gone through. It's essential to, if there's trauma in your life that you have not processed, discussed with somebody, a therapist or something like that, one thing you can do is journal it. Like there's a saying, the only way out is through.
Okay. Wow. And
About it, but you have to get through it, right?
yeah.
So just writing is one thing a person could choose if they feel like, or maybe they just wanna get everything in their brain out of their brain and on paper, like just daily that process of doing that. So take 10 minutes a day and do that. The second thing would be read, but when I say read, I mean improve yourself, something uplifting, something that's gonna build skills, something that's gonna build knowledge about who you are, why you operate the way you operate, right? Maybe it's a personality analysis or something like that. So you could choose that for your 60-day dare. The third thing I call clear, and that is either decluttering your house, which can have a terrible mental burden, put a terrible mental burden on us if we've just got a mess everywhere, right? So decluttering or detoxifying your house. I think it's essential to get, all the bad chemicals out. Like, right, we look under our kitchen cabinets and bathrooms and laundry rooms and you know I mean, there can be a lot of yucky chemicals in things that we just We need to get out of our house. But the fourth thing I call meditate. You can choose to and within that is meditation, affirmations, or prayer. Choose what works for you and take that 10 minutes a day and do one of those things, or maybe it's even a combination of those things. And then the last thing I call create. This is all within brain work. And create is taking 30 minutes to work on a creative endeavor. And this and everything, all of these have um, de stressing effects on us. So for me, I needlepoint. I discovered that I loved it about 4 years ago. And sometimes you have to do something for a good amount of time to have it become something you love, and something that is de stressful. And I list like I don't know how many, a bunch of ideas on and I'm talking an individual creative endeavor that you can just do that's de-stressing. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's some kind of needlework, maybe there's all kinds of things you could do, gardening, I mean, all kinds of things. So, those are the sort of 5 areas of, working on the brain, working on the mind, and trying to get it in that good place. Of course, physical things help that too, right? Doing some exercise is gonna help your brain.
Exactly, that's very true. And it's so along with this, like you say that in your book that the world desperately needs you because only you can do what what only you can do.
Exactly. And that is huge. There is no one that's ever been born
Yeah.
in the entire time that the world has been here that's like you. With the Isn't that shocking? That's a shocking thought of all the trillions, I guess, of I don't know how many people have ever been born, but there's nobody like you. And so, it's real easy to think, "Oh, oh, I wanna do this thing." And then all of a sudden, our mind just plays tricks on us, and it's like, "No, everybody else has done that, and you don't have anything new to say," or, "Nobody's gonna look at it." I mean, I thought these things when I thought about writing a book, It's nothing new. People have written books about it before, but it's not true. Only you can do what only you can do, and there is somebody, even if it's one person, even if it's like a grandchild, I mean, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
and also on that same token, at this point in our lives, I'm 64 now. I only want to do what only I can do. Like, time is limited. So I'm the only one that can be a wife to my husband. I'm the only one that can be a mom to these particular 5 kids. I'm the only one that can write this book the way I wrote it with the stories I put in it. And, I think I don't think I would have done it had it not been sort of God inspired and there's somebody that needs to read it. So people need to understand that, they're unique and they have a purpose. And sometimes and in the world work section of my book, it is about purpose and we don't know our purpose. So one part of it is there's a list of again 60 questions. I call them the dream questions. So if you're not sure what is my purpose right now, then each day of the 60 days, you can, with your journal, answer the question of the day for the dream questions. And I think it will lead you to what your purpose is for this time in your life.
Exactly. Understood. Great. So, Alison, this conversation is really, really inspiring, and it's very much necessary, as I mentioned this at the beginning of the discussion. So, I love that you are redefining what it means to thrive after 60, and not just in the body, but in the mind, purpose, and the spirit. So,
Yes.
for anyone who is listening, or maybe you'll be listening sometimes later, who feels like they are at a crossroads in life, and this is your sign uh, to take the action. Like, 60s isn't the end. It's a powerful new beginning, I would say.
Yes.
And with the 60 day dare, like Allison already mentioned, it takes our brain to accustomed with or develop a new shift in 60 days. So that's a great one. I mean, the Reignite Planner, Allison's book, and uh, I mean, it's really really great, and you have a step by step guide to help you move forward with the confidence. So do check out that. And so, Allison, very quickly, like if someone wants to connect with you and wants to learn more about it, want to have a discussion on this with you, where they can connect with you.
I probably the easiest way is Instagram, Allison McCune Davis. It's you can search me and find me there and send me a message. I've also got my website, AllisonMcCuneDavis.com, so you can go there too.
Lovely. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And to all of you who is tuning in, your best years aren't behind you. So they are right in front of you. So take control, embrace your purpose, and make this next phase of your life the most powerful yet. So uh, if you found value in today's episode, share it with a friend, family, someone who actually need to listen to this, and leave us a review, and let's keep the conversation going. So with this hope, like until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep thriving. So this is your host Avik signing off from the Mindful Living. Thank you so much.